I'm Alexis Santos, and I did my project on Plato's aesthetic. The first introduction that I went through was beauty, and I read that the Greeks objected kalon only approximates to the English beautiful. So, like, the word kalon, is that how you pronounce it?
Mm-hmm.
Is to them beautiful. Like, that's, I guess, their definition.
Go ahead.
And then beautiful and kalon commonly applied to, well, they are applied to different items, but that's, from what I understood, that's the closest that they can, like, justify it to. Plato's far more often used kalon for a face or a body than for words of art and natural scenery. Some commenters try to keep kalon and beautiful close to synonymous despite these differences in their semantic ranges. Studying the Hippias major, each reader should ask whether Plato's treatment to kalon sounds relevant to questions 1 asked about beauty today.
Okay, pause it.
Okay, going into the Hippias major. Today, most agree that Plato wrote this major and sustained inquiry into beauty seen as central Platonic aesthetic. Hippias has a reputation for the breadth of his factual knowledge. Factual knowledge, sorry.
Meaning he's all about facts.
Yeah. Philosophers of the 18th century argue over whether an object is beautiful by virtue or satisfying the definition of the object or independently of its definition.
Yeah, so when I say the word puppy, all you guys are, big eyes. Okay. What they're saying is there's something else metaphysically going on that makes us attracted to these things. And that's what they're trying to get to. Okay?
Beauty is never subsumed within the good, the appropriate, or the beneficial. Hippias major reflects the view of beauty found in other dialogues. And then Socrates and Hippias appeal to artworks as an example of beautiful things, but do not treat those as the central cases. These 3 aspects of Platonic beauty work together and reflect beautiful, unique places in Plato's metaphysics, something almost both visible and intelligible. And then going into beauty and art. In the Symposium, Socrates claims to be, quote, his teacher Diotimus of the subject of love, and in the lesson attributed to her, she calls beauty the object of every lover's yearning. So, Socrates claims that his teacher was this girl, well, I believe this girl Diotimus, and that she was the one that taught him the beauty of, like, objects and the
true love.
Yeah.
And true love goes beyond the objects.
Mm-hmm.
Remember platonic love? Okay, go ahead.
The Republic contains several tokens of Plato's reluctance to associate poetry with beauty. The dialogue's first discussion of poetry, whose context is education, censors poems that corrupt the young. So what we were talking about last time, how, like, they use the poems and like rap and everything, how, like, it's corrupting us, the young.
So Plato's Republic doesn't like poets and poetry, but he'll use them.
Mm-hmm. Almost immediately, Socrates speaks of cultivating a fondness for beauty among the young guardians. It takes pain to deny that beauty appears in poetry. Take away the decorative language that makes a poet's sentiment sound right and put it into ordinary word, and it becomes unremarkable. A young people's face beautified by youth later show themselves of the pain looks they are.
Okay, so hold on, pause it.
Okay, going into the form of beauty. The fundamental tantrum in understanding Platonic beauty as part of what we would call Plato's aesthetic or philosophy of art is that Plato sees no opposing between the pleasures that beauty brings and the goals of the philosophy. Many passages in Plato's associate a form with beauty. This is what I was talking to you about when I asked about form. Beauty is Plato's example of a form so frequently for a pair of reasons. The theory of forms mainly exists to guarantee stable reference for disputed evaluate terms. So if anything needs a form, beauty does and will have a form if any property does. In general, a form F differs from an individual F things in that F may be predicted univocally of the form. The form F is F and individual F thing both is and is not F. In this sense, the same property F can only be predicted equivocally of the individual.
Huh?
That's what I asked. Here, beauty does better than most properties at meeting the criteria for forms and non-forms. The philosophical merit of things that are equivocally F is that they come bearing signs of their incompleteness, so that the inquisitive mind wants to know more.
Okay, so when you see an act, they all do.
By contrast, beautiful things strike everyone and arouse everyone's curiosity. Therefore, beauty promises more effective reflections than any other property of things. Beauty alone is both a form and a sensory experience.
So our eyes are seeing.
Beautiful things remind souls of their mystery as no other visible objects do. And in this optimistic moment, Plato welcomes people's attention to them. So, like, the beautiful thing that we see, that like the form, it reminds us of that, like, that feeling, that euphoria, that, I don't know, like that perfect thing that we all look up to, like, it reminds us of that, and that keeps our drive.
That is an important thing. Beautiful faces do give us a euphoric feeling.
Yeah.
So the point about the face is they're made a certain way. Aristotle and Plato believe that you are created with a certain type of program.
Okay. It goes on to us, like, we're programmed that special way. That we're programmed that specific way, specifically to keep other people's drives into the beauty, into beauty.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought you said beauty was mixed with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then why does you get me?
Because at the end of the day, what we see beautiful, what we look at first, is like the physical attractions, To make beauty effective for learning, Plato needs to rely on its desirability while counting on the soul's ability to transfer its desiring from the visible to the intellect.
Okay. So the real philosopher knows that as beautiful as an actor is, you're just seeing the visible. There's something beyond. So the philosopher knows that the beautiful is a...
The desirable effects also explain why Plato speaks grudgingly of beauty in art and poetry. Their corrupting cognitive exercise by poems demonstrate their inabilities to function. Yeah.